I ended up slitting my wrist at the moment.
I want to apologize to you. I just want to say sorry for what you've been through.
This is literally the place where words are killing.
When it happens with men, they can't even talk about it.
And you have nowhere to go to.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
So
Hi.
today is our second episode, and there's a lot that we are going to talk about. Cyberbullying is an insidious form of bullying that can drive people into deeper mental crisis. Today we are going to talk about the psychological and mental impact of online harassment on victims and their family members. Over to you, Sonakshi.
With the advent of social media, there's been an explosion of personal opinions on public forums. While the idea was a democratic one, where the platform provided was intended to ignite healthy conversation between people, while being virtually present, the modern history of social networks is in one of trial, unfortunately. People say horrible things to each other, and the anonymity of forums and encouragement from similar minds have made it a common occurrence. People are mercilessly criticized for their views, and often the critiques are personal, whether that's about religion, race, class, your looks, even gender, everything, profession, everything is picked on. Cyberbullying takes on many forms, sending, posting, or sharing insensitive and malicious content about someone privately or in public groups, sending threats, leaking identifying information, or sharing embarrassing content. It all keeps happening around us and makes a severe impact on mental health. I have also had many sleepless nights, and I'm sure our guests today are also here to discuss their personal experiences. I just want to introduce Moira, who is this beautiful young girl who has been, subject to things that no one, I think, should be subjected to. It's very, very brutal and has affected her mental health in a way, and I think she's very, very brave to be amongst us here today to share her experience. And Nirali Bhatia, who's of course a psychologist and who will talk to us about the effects that cyberbullying have on people's mental health. So welcome to you both, and thank you so much for being here. So Moira, I want to begin with you. Since you're here, I just want you to tell us about your experience, and let's create an awareness on how harsh and what levels people can stoop to, just to create an awareness and know and tell people this is really not right.
It happened a year ago, and it happened between old friends. And a group was made on Instagram. It was basically for me. I was added to the group. My pictures, which were on Instagram, they put up the pictures. They highlighted my body parts, talked about them, and talked about my financial status, and about how their cigarettes are more expensive than our clothes, and talking about my lingerie. And they kept on doing this for 2 hours straight. And
while you were on this group.
Yeah, I was on this group, and at the end they also said that we actually added you to the group to scare you that if you do anything next time, if you meddle with us next time or any of our friends, then you're gonna have to face this on social media. And after this, they not only did this in private with 15 people on the group. One of them had 22k followers, and she posted on her story saying, commenting on my breast, basically. Don't want to get into that, it's too ugly, but she commented on my body, and she had 22k followers. So after that happened, I was very embarrassed and very ashamed, very humiliated. So I ended up slitting my wrist at the moment. I had nothing. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know we could complain or anything. So I had no idea about it. So that's what I did back then. And but then my parents got to know, because they took me to the hospital. They got to know, and I was treated. I was well. I came home, and they talked to the parents of these children, 4 of these girls, but their parents did not respond well. And they said that we have no control over them anymore. And when they tried to talk to the girl, she said that she misbehaved with my mom and my brother. So that's about it. So we knew that I couldn't do anything about it. So my parents only told me that it's just you who needs to stop caring and move on and become better. And so I went into therapy, and that's what I was doing until after 1 year, these chats got viral, and a lot of people spoke in my favor. I didn't even know I could find. After this boys' locker room, that's when I got aware that I can file a case. So I did, and my parents like supported me all the way, and especially Nirali ma'am and Ritesh sir helped me a lot in all of this. I filed the case. They were investigated. They assured that this won't happen again. If it did, then I will file an FIR.
Firstly, I want to apologize to you. I just want to say sorry for what you've been through. I think it's inhuman. It's terrible to put anybody, through something like this. And we think that cyberbullying and harassment is only with people that we don't know. Moira's case here, it's actually happened with people that she knows, people who she's been friends with. And I think that's so, it's just disgusting. And to put a young girl, a beautiful young girl like her, through something like this, it's just terribly inhuman. So I think people need to just become a bit sensitive. And I think you're very brave to be out here sharing your experience with us. Nirali, like Moira, I don't even want to say it again, but like she said how she slit her wrists. And she's just one person out here on the show today. We've heard of so many other stories where people have actually attempted suicide and gone through with it. They've lost their lives. What do you have to say to that? How does one person deal with the humiliation that they're facing online?
If we understand this entire nature of all types of cyber crimes, except for the financial one, they are more of psychological in nature. So the wounds are not visible. And when the wounds are not visible, it's very difficult for anybody else also to empathize. I mean, if you have a fracture, you have a band over here, people will see, they will try and help you. But when you are suffering from within, everyone says, oh, come on, it's a big deal, you can move on, you can handle, because they really cannot see that thing. So that also does not give, people who are suffering through this enough space to heal it. Not lack of support is there. Like Moira said, that she had no clue that she could complain about this. Also, now that the interaction is with screen, the entire inhibition effect of the screen takes over, where people don't realize how toxic they have been in their communication, or how benign also in oversharing information. And hence, because you're not seeing other person's body language, you're not using your instincts and guts, you can go to an extremity. The same thing with Moira, if it would have happened in a classroom, the impact would have been slightly different. I'm not saying that it's something acceptable at all, but yes, when it goes on internet, it becomes 24/7. It always comes to haunt you back. The reach is so broad, and hence it actually instills that kind of fear in the victims who go through this. Being able to trust this whole space, being able to trust their own friends also becomes very challenging. Like she mentioned that she also had to undergo therapy, and it took almost a year for her to come back, which is a very long and a very precious time of your life. And unfortunately, at such a young age, these kind of incidents, she has been lucky to have amazing parental support. But there are so many. I mean, the organization that I run, which is an anti-cyberbullying organization called Cyberbar, on a daily basis, I get 20 to 25 emails from youth, I will say. So from 9 years to 25 is the major age group where we get. All are going through hate messages, sexual messages, abusive messages, body shaming messages. And this is what is happening in formative years of life, where children are dealing to build up their own identities, build up their self-confidence. The changes that the body is going through, they are learning to accept it. But at that stage, if this kind of things happen with you, you actually do not understand whether to love yourself. Half the times victims feel guilty, and that's exactly what happened with her as well, where she felt so hopeless that all she could think was of let go of the pain by taking a step like this. So yes, the wound which is invisible is far deep rooted and takes a very long time to heal. Like we always say, words can kill, and this is literally the place where words are killing.
Like Moira, I think a lot of people are under the misconception that you can't go ahead and do anything about this. You just have to sit back and let it happen to you, which is wrong. I think if you go back to our first episode,
Right.
you'll be able to see how we've discussed about the laws that are put in place. Nirali's husband Ritesh Bhatia is also who's also fighting a lot against cyber harassment and bullying. Who is a cyber investigator. He explained to us there was the special IGP of Maharashtra Police, Mr. Pratap Dighavkar, who told us about all the laws that are put into place to fight cyberbullying, harassment, crime, cyber crimes, and trolling even for that matter. So we might think of it as a very, very small thing, but it's not. It really affects people in ways that you cannot even possibly imagine. So please don't be afraid to raise your voice, to step up, to file a complaint, if that's what's going to get you any sort of peace. There are provisions made, and if you go back to our first episode, you'll be able to see exactly those. Mansi and Vinav, you guys have done an amazing job of, putting together a forum, a platform where people can voice out against us. How did you guys decide to, come up with this initiative?
So it's a long story. Obviously, we've come across a lot of online harassment ourselves. Like we've seen it, around us. But it also personally happened with us. So it happened with both of us together, as well as it happened with me for the first time. Like Moira, I was maybe younger than her when it first happened with me. So someone created a fake Facebook profile and started messaging my friends and my cousins, and it was a normal message that, okay, this is my new account, please delete the old one and use this one. So I don't know, maybe back then I was a little I went into a complete panic mode, and I actually got the printouts of the accounts. I went to the cybercrime office in Bandra, and I went to appeal that I want an action against this person. And the officer there, simply because I was so young, took it in a funny way, and just asked me that were there any negative messages going or any pictures which were revealed or anything. I said no, not right now, but this is the first step and it could happen, it could go anywhere, I don't know. So that's how scared I was, and I was not able to sleep for 2 nights, and I did everything possible, but of course, because there was nothing else, and the person realized and deleted the account, so it stopped right there. But it was my first experience, and since then I knew that this is something that I want to do personally, but there was no such opportunity. And then while growing, while learning, while seeing things around us, I realized that now is the right time with the lockdown.
Right. And like I've also personally, been through something like that, because back then when you're young, you are dating somebody else, and then you don't understand what is going on in your life. I've actually personally had it with my own partner who was trying to, bully me online. And then a lot of things happened back then, using my accounts, hacking my Facebook, taking away my phones, and then using social media to actually go out and talk to a lot of other people. And then, just abusing my clients and taking away all the business. Like a lot of shit, like you can't even imagine that kind of thing you are going through personally. And you have nowhere to go to, because personally when you have built something on your own, you want to go to and talk to your parents, and you're like, oh shit, what to tell them, You have done 6 years of business, and eventually you are going through something like that. So there's nobody to help. There's nobody to talk to. There were no friends who I can rely on and talk to them and say, okay, I'm in something like this. Can you help me out? Because it was growing day by day. Like, the moment I used to take a step, it used to fall back, like if it was 1x the day one, the moment I used to speak out, it became 10x.
Especially when, it happens with women, we know that it keeps happening. So it's a different, approach altogether. But when it happens with men, they can't even talk about it. And, there's so many things which are happening, not just with Vinav, but I'm sure with other people also. But they can't really talk about it because, you are a man and you have to basically man up and you can't talk about it. But it's used in a wrong way. And what triggered for us with Mission Joes to start this campaign is basically after we got married. We recently got married, and there were a lot of negative comments on social media, on our public platforms. We also run the Brides of India. So there on our posts, on our pictures, there are like completely disgusting messages and comments out of nowhere. We still, like, aiming to basically create that kind of negative thread of comments for us, personally, both of us. And we realized that, it's happening with us, and I'm sure it's happening with more people. So that's how this entire campaign fell into place. And Sonakshi, thank you so much for being a part of this. Together, I'm sure we're going to make a larger impact.
It's my pleasure, and honestly I'm really happy that people like you are stepping up, people who have actually been through it themselves and have not and have turned that bad experience into something that will help others. I'm really proud of you guys for doing this. You too, Moira, for standing up and speaking today. Nirali, I wanted to ask you, like, I've been subjected to most of these things that they've been speaking to. Like, I know a lot of friends also whose accounts have been hacked, and people have been sending messages to random people after hacking their accounts. I've been subjected to a lot of trolling. In the last episode, I was explaining how when social media started, when I got on Twitter, I found it to be such a nice platform to exchange my views with my fans and people who actually love me for my work. But then it just turned out to be this monster where random people started saying random things to me. And for me, it could be the smallest thing, like I've read in the morning and it's come out as something else in the evening. I've snapped at my mom or my staff at work, without realizing, without connecting the dots that where this irritation, where this anger has come from. So it could be the smallest thing and it affects you in a big way. So how do you deal with trolls in particular? Like, are you supposed to respond to them? I try not to. I try to ignore them as far as I can. But sometimes it just gets so much. Somebody said something about your family and you're just like, oh, I'm going to kill you. So how do you even respond to them?
Yes.
How do you get past that?
True. So unfortunately what has happened is while we all have jumped onto these newer platforms and newer opportunities, we all largely lack that particular education to manage these platforms. Like when we join schools, when we learn a new language, we are taught a certain etiquettes that, how are you supposed to communicate? How are you supposed to talk? What kind of mannerisms, what kind of tone you have to have. Same way, even in the digital medium, there is a certain set of hygiene and etiquettes that everyone has to follow.
But unfortunately,
there is... Yes. Now, unfortunately, there is none of this available. And there is a very thin line. So these platforms came up as freedom of speech and expression. But they actually lacked in also endorsing that with freedom comes responsibility.
Correct.
So that is what given these things. Of course, as you are a public figure, and this is an amazing platform for your fans to actually connect. We can directly reach out to you. But yes, there are people who have no clue how to reach out. So sometimes they do it simply for attention, because of course the negative comment is going to get immediate, not from you, but that one negative comment will invite another few, and eventually it becomes thousands. And that has now become the new entertainment, for each one of us, that roasting and, making fun, trivia, all this has shaped up so very differently because of the content that we are also consuming over these places. So yeah, the key lies in understanding that this entire space of social media is a very reactive space. It is what triggers your emotions. So the moment you feel that the content on this media is trying to change your mood, it's impacting your mood, is the first signal you start staying away. You keep a line and then you take it only and only professionally. Of course, it does not happen overnight because the medium also has a very thin line between personal and professional. On the same account, you will have your family following. On the same account, you will have your business networking. And on the same account, you will also have your fans. So because of these complications, I understand it's difficult. But yes, you identify that, yes, are these comments now actually impacting me? Am I emotionally reacting, or am I, not just reacting, but actually standing and logically responding to it? So the shift has to be from reaction to response. And the key mantra over here is pause before you type, or before you enter, or before you like. So that's what we say, practice the pause. Every time you feel like responding, pause.
Take a deep
hold
breath.
it on, think about it, and then yes,
Yeah.
and
Think
actually
about,
that works.
think about it.
Actually,
Is it
does,
actually worth it? Is it actually going to get you anywhere? But
Yes,
like I
yes.
also used to be very impulsive initially in the start because it was so new even for me, and I used to be like, how the hell is this
It
random
is an
person
emotionally reactive platform.
saying stuff to me like that? And I used to reply to a lot, but then I realized, you know what, psychologically even these people are wanting it. They are looking for that
Yes,
reaction. So why should I give it to them?
yes.
If I do react to them, that means that they won. So after a while, it took me a while to understand this, but then I also did take a step back, that I don't have to respond to everything that's thrown at me. And if it's something that
True.
is really affecting my sanity or is lewd or is a threat or anything of that sort, we have provisions where we can go and complain and get justice, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is great to hear. Moira, I know you've spoken about what happened to you, the experience that you had, and what it put you through. Actually, without really emphasizing on that, because I know it's a very, very sensitive issue for you, and of course even for us to hear. It's very, very sensitive. But I want you to tell people how therapy actually helped you to get out of it, because a lot of people don't even turn to therapy when they're subjected to mental harassment in that way. So why don't you tell us how therapy helped you actually get over it and move forward with your life?
So basically, I think I don't think therapy is for the people who need help. I think therapy is something that everyone should go to. This is one thing that I've realized. Yeah, I mean, even after 1 year, I think I got the closure, I got justice, I got everything I wanted, but I still talk to my therapist sometimes. It's just, you get a sense of direction. In the only thing that we lack in the social media is sensitivity. And I think you get that through therapy. And so basically, my therapist used to tell me how to, I used to fight at home because I couldn't stand up for myself. That's why I started standing up everywhere where some fingers were pointed at me, because I thought everyone was just trying to humiliate me. That's how it impacted me deeper, that I thought everyone's just humiliating me. So I started fighting with everyone who used to, argue with me. So that's one thing that helped me a lot. That now I have no anger issues. I can understand that, when someone's humiliating me, how to react to that, how to not be aggressive with this person who's saying such bad things to you, how to take it, to let it affect you deeper. It all took it actually also helped me figure myself out. So I got to know how to deal with such people, how to handle myself, even not just because of what happened with me, but even otherwise. I learned a lot from therapy, a lot. And meditation and all this, and I learned a lot. So I think everyone should get into it. So I also, when I was thinking one day about the girls who said these things to me, I also knew about their family background, and I knew what had happened to them also. Sometimes everyone's subject to cyberbullying. It's not just us. So it's basically like when you get ragged, you do that to your
Yes.
other peers, right? So it was basically just that.
Juniors,
So I
yeah.
started thinking, I was like, if they had some help, they wouldn't be doing that. So all it requires is counseling.
I think that's such a smart thing to say, and I'm so happy that it came from a young person like you, because there's so much social stigma attached to therapy and mental health right now. And coming from someone as young as you, I want more young people to, understand that it is okay to not be okay, and it's okay to go and seek help when you need it, and even when you don't need it. Like just to put it in simpler words, I feel like therapy is just how you like you send your car for like regular checkups. I mean, it's just like that. You're just making sure that it's in tip-top condition. We go to the gym, we work out, we eat healthy for our bodies, but what are we doing for our minds, just to put it simply. So I think therapy should be something that everybody should look at. It's just something that will help you lead your lives better. And I'm so glad that it came from you, Moira. Lastly, Nirali, I just wanted to ask you that, a lot of people are afraid to even bring up the what they go through to their family or to their friends. Therapist to matlab dur ki baat, like we just discussed also, a lot of people, there's a lot of social stigma attached to it, but which shouldn't be there. But even to bring it up to their family and friends, people are very hesitant. What would you like to tell people like that who, live with it, who keep it inside them?
So, absolutely right. So let me tell you that in lockdown, since the mid-April till date, I have got more than 500 complaints. And like I said, major is from the youth. But out of these 500, at least 300 have in their report to me, they write a line, we would not want this matter to go to the parents. That's really, really very disturbing and unfortunate, because your parents are supposed to be your first line of help. So I'm not saying that parents are wrong. Of course, this is a new age mistake for the parents also to deal with. If we go by our examples, well, I'm from 70s. So when I was growing up, of course, there was no internet. So the kind of mistakes we as kids made were very different for us to experience. But if we parents do not upgrade ourselves to understand what is this new technology, how is it impacting our children, then we are disconnecting from the parents. From our kids. And that's where this happens. So usually when I talk to kids and I ask them, why would you not want to do that? So that they're like, our parents' first reaction would be, कि तुमने ही कुछ किया है, तुम phone छोड़ दो, तुम social media छोड़ दो. Now, this is what actually pushes kids away, because this has become an integral part of everyone's life. Even for the kids who are born today in this digital era, we can't really expect them to keep the social media and keep the phones away. But as adults, if we start engaging with them, understanding the platform, its impact, then we can, put that line very, very closer where our kids are open to talking to us. Also, secondly, like you mentioned, and even Moira said that, the significance of counseling. It's because of the idea that, it's only and only for someone who is clinically having some psychological condition. It's really not. It's primarily, as a counselor, our job is actually to give you a holistic view of your condition. We don't make decisions for you, but we empower you to be able to see things from different angles, to be able to make those corrections where faulty beliefs are happening. And even just the talking about problem, that yes, there is someone to listen to, makes a huge difference. Half the cases that I speak to, you don't even have to go to an FIR level, because only when they talk about it, they feel so much at peace that yes, someone heard. See, cyberbullying most of the times makes the victim feel guilty. There is an unsaid this thing that you have done something, that's why you have called it upon yourself. 50% of the times it is known friends and family and peers, and 50% of the times there are random strangers who are bullying you. So the victims do go through these kind of things where it's very difficult for them to even talk. Half the times either they feel guilty or they feel stupid that how did I let this happen to me? But all I want to say here is it's human to make mistakes. But if we don't stitch this in the right time, it can impact our future lives also. The wound which is not visible, if it is not healed, if it is not addressed, and healing is talking. Healing is talking to someone who will look at it from a non-judgmental point. That's where a trained counselor comes. It's different than talking to your family and friends and going to a professional, because we are trained in non-judgment. We are trained in, helping you cope up with so many other pains that are invisible. So that's exactly what needs to happen. And for adults and parents, yes, please understand that these are new age times, new types of mistakes children are going to make, if at all it is their mistake. And if it is not, then technology is something where none of us can say. Me being in the field also cannot ever say that, okay, I'm going to be 100% safe and never going to be bullied. It's not possible. So let's not judge people by telling them, well, it's your mistake, you did something.
Yeah. I think what we're doing here is just basically trying to build awareness, because a lot of people sometimes are unaware really what they're doing and what harm they're causing and how it could impact somebody's life, and, which is why again I'm so thankful to you and Moira and of course you guys for being here and kind of putting it out there to people. What I'm taking away from this episode is that how it can impact you, what it can drive people to actually do, and how it affects a young person's mind. Very, very harmful. I don't think anybody should be subjected to that. And again, the social stigma around therapy. If you have been subjected to something like that, you don't have to be ashamed to seek help. You don't have to be ashamed to reach out to anyone, whether it is your family or your friends or a therapist. And one more very important thing that Moira said, that you don't need to have a medical or mental condition to seek out therapy. It's something that you should just do for yourself, so that you can live a better life, think better, reason better, rationalize your actions, your behavior. So it's very, very important. And I just want to thank you all for being here and making this episode a fantastic one. I'm sure that we're going to reach out to a lot more people who watch this, and hopefully they should understand that what cyberbullying and what cyber harassment is all about. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sonakshi, and thank you so much, Manshi and Vinod. Mission Josh.
Right.
Yeah.
Glad to have you. And thank you so much for a wonderful wrap up of what we all discussed today in this episode. And it's very, very important to actually understand what are the laws around it, and then understand how it impacts everyone. And that's the reason the third episode that we are going to do is going to be about how to take that legal action. Like, you might understand what the laws are, you might understand how it is impacting yourself or your families, how to reach out to people. But then it's very important, if it is going above a level where you cannot take it anymore, how to take the right legal actions. And we'll talk about all of that in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank
Moira,
you, guys.
Amazing.
Thank you, Nidali ma'am,
Thank you so much.
and all of you for having me, for letting me have a platform where I can talk about it. I'm very grateful to all of you.
We are grateful to you. You're very, very brave. You're very brave. Yeah, you're very brave to be here with us and share your experiences. I don't think if I was in your place, I'd be able to. Being very, very honest, Moira, you're very brave.